Hey, let's talk about betrayal. And we've all been hurt by someone, betrayed by someone, and on all different kinds of levels. And don't we always want, it's like when somebody really hurts you, somebody really betrays you, you want them to at least acknowledge what they've done, right? Because here it is, it's consuming your mind, it's breaking your heart, it's always present, it's always heavy, you're always carrying it. And you want that other person, like, hello, like, don't you realize what you did? I know you know what you did. Can I get an apology? Would you stand here an apology? Or we have to have the last word. Yes, but you still, or yes, but you did. Isn't that what it's about? Like, and then it just eats away at us. And then we get angry, and then we get bitter, and then it really affects us. We don't sleep well. It affects our health. I mean, it can be pretty disastrous and become all consuming, can it? When we have been betrayed and hurt by someone, especially someone that refuses to even acknowledge what they did, much less stand up, on a podium in front of all of our friends and family and everyone that knows and apologize to me publicly, right? Don't we? I mean, that's just, that's how we get, isn't it? And then today I heard someone talking about Judas and how Jesus treated, how Jesus acted toward Judas. Jesus already knew. Now, and here's a little side note. How easy is it for us to become sidetracked and consumed with the wrong things? For evil to creep in, and all of a sudden, here's Judas, and he's besties with Jesus. Who's gonna, how can you be consumed by something evil? How can you become consumed with money and power? And Judas gave in to these earthly desires for money and power. And he thought that was really going to make him happy, really going to make him something, whatever it was he was thinking. He gave in to that weakness for money and power. So relevant for today. Anyway, that was the side note. So Judas decides he's going to, you know what? I'm going to do this because this is going to work out best for me in the end. Who cares about everybody else? But this is going to really work out good for me. We know it didn't, but he's thinking that. And so we know that money and power, chasing money and power isn't always going to end up working out the best for us now, is it? So back to the story, Amy, back to the story. So Judas sells out Jesus. He sells out his best friend. He sells out the one person that's always going to be there for him, that's going to have his back, that's going to save him. And Judas sits down at the table. We were talking about people always talking about who's invited to the table. Judas sits down at the table, and Jesus feeds him. Jesus breaks bread. Jesus gets on the floor, and they walk around in the sand and the hot, and their feet are nasty. Grown men's feet are nasty anyway, but their feet are nasty. Jesus gets down, and Jesus washes his feet. So he's washing Judas' feet. He's looking in his eye. And he's still loving Judas, and he knows what's happening. And then they break bread, and then in this, you can find it in Luke and John. I think they talk about Judas in all four of the Gospels. New Testament, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, first four chapters in the New Testament. And so in John, it's chapter 13, verse 27. And it says, when Judas had eaten the bread, Satan entered him. Then Jesus told him, hurry and do what you're going to do. So Jesus already knew, and Jesus said, go ahead and go. He knew. And Jesus didn't confront him. Jesus didn't yell at him or demand an apology, demand a different action, demand he stand up or kneel down in front of everyone there, in front of all their friends, and you owe me an apology because look at how you're betraying me. He didn't do any of that. And the betrayal was part of the story, wasn't it? We couldn't have had what Jesus had to do without that part of the story. So Jesus didn't demand anything. Jesus didn't let it live rent-free in his head. Jesus went on about his business. And wow, we don't talk about that part enough, because in our relationships, when we are betrayed, how do we act? How do we react? Sometimes, I know some people know part of my story, but I was in a horrifically abusive relationship for several years. And that was when I was with my therapist for many years afterwards. That was part, like, for so long afterwards, I just wanted, and he was a blackout drunk. He was never even going to know exactly what he did to me, because that part of his brain was blacked out. And so I was so angry, and I just wanted him to at least know what he did. Like, why doesn't he even remember? He needs to remember. I remember this forever. Why doesn't he remember? Why doesn't he acknowledge it? And doggone it, I want an apology. And it took me a very, very, very long time to get over all of that and realize, because my therapist would be like, Amy, you're probably never going to get an apology, much less anything else. And a lot of times we need to realize that the people that hurt us, I mean, I'm not saying they were blackout drunk and they almost, beat you to death, but they may not know. They may not even remember. It was such a small thing for them, the betrayal, or maybe it even made them happy. We don't know. But you can never count on even acknowledgement, much less an apology or a sincere apology for the betrayal. And we can learn how to treat that, act on that, act about that, not react to it from this story, from the way that Christ didn't react to Judas' betrayal. Jesus kept on going. He did not let it take up space, take up rent in his mind. That was on the other person. We can't make the choices. We can't force other people to act, do, say, choose the way we want them to or the way we think they should. And we just have to let that go. That's on them. That is on them. I know it's easier said than done, but what a wonderful example of just not reacting to other people's betrayal against us or toward us. So, amen, sister. I hope that encourages someone today. And if you have someone that you are harboring bitterness or anger toward because they have betrayed you, work on that a little bit. Realize that you may never get the apology. You may never, even though you deserve it, you may never get that apology. And get to the point where you're okay with that and you move on. It's part of your story. It's part of your history. And move on from that and quit allowing it to take up space in your brain where wonderful and good, important, and meant to be things are supposed to be in there. Amen, sister. Have a great day.